Good morning. I'm sorry.
Are we ready?
Yes. Good morning. We'll call the meeting to order. All members are present with the exception of Mr. Baker, who advised me he wasn't sure he was going to be able to make the meeting. Adoption of the agenda. We have 2 items for additions. Mayor Tewalt is with us this morning, and we'll talk briefly regarding the Afton Inn and projects that we have with the town. And then we have the grazing lease that we can approve. And we'll do those 2 items with the board's approval as items 3 and 4 and make our closed session item 5. If that is agreeable. Adoption of the amended agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is unanimous. Moving along there, Mayor Tewalt.
Okay. Good morning, Happy New Year.
Good morning.
Hope everybody has a good year, better than this year. Anyway, first thing I want to do is thank Ed and Jeff for meeting with us, Bill C. like and myself, Tuesday, I think it was 17th. We talked about the Afton Inn primarily on the winterization, and we had anticipated costs of around between 5 and 10, and it came in 13 or even more according to this. We would like to go ahead and try to do something. I haven't got any approval from the council. I've got to meet with them and see where they want to go with that. A good way though, if you want to consider, we talked about it, reading in the report that we received from Mr. Daly, that if you want to dispose of it, sell it back to us, and we'll maybe try to either go ahead and work with Main Street or remove it. We don't know. We don't have any idea yet on where we're going, because we don't own the building. So we're just searching and finding out where you guys are going and where we can go as far as getting this building either renovated and or removed, because it's a more of a safety hazard. We have it blocked off this time due to the fact of the soffit boards falling off the edge of the building. The little cupola on top is sitting on about a 10-degree angle, and we never know when that's going to collapse. So it's something that we need to get moving on, whether it's you or us or whoever, to get that building either restored and or removed. It's just getting to the point at the time there's got to be something done quickly. We just can't wait another year or 2 years in order to get this thing accomplished. There's not going to be anything there to do anything with. And so we talked about those things, and like I said, I can't give you an answer at this time because I haven't met with the council. I talked to Matt and I talked to Bill Seelock, but we haven't got it together as a group to know what's going on. But if y'all would want to consider selling it back to us so we can make a final decision, we can do all the work that way instead of going through a third party that we're doing at this time. You guys are working with a third party. If you give it to us, we can either do what we want to think we ought to do or not, and go from there. And on the police department, we talked about that just for a minute, and I gave Mr. Daly the resolution, and it said anticipated 1.5%. If we can sit down and negotiate a percentage so we can get this thing moving, I think we can, but we got to all work together. I mean, working between 2 lawyers, it's not going to happen. I can tell you that right now. We got to sit down with a couple of us and work out an agreement. You agree with it, we agree with it, and get moving on this loan, because we would like to go ahead and get it resolved, get the thing off your plate. And that way, if you give a little bit, we give a little bit, maybe go to 2.25%. You take half, we take half, and everybody's losing, but at least we'll get something off the books that you guys can live with. So if you all be willing to do that. And the third thing, and you don't know because we don't know, is the projects. We have 3 projects that's going on. We have the Leachwood Parkway. We don't have any idea how much we owe. We got the West Main Connector. We have no idea what we owe. We have 3 projects. That was Torrey Drive, Stevens development, and there's one more. What it was.
Success.
But pardon.
Success and Happy Creek.
Yeah.
Several.
Okay, and we don't know. We'd like to get this thing moving along because you guys need the money. We need to get our books straight, and we just don't know where we're headed in that relationship. So anything that we can do and work together, I think we need to do that. And we need to do it quick, not a year from now. We need to get on with this project and move along and get you guys either in or out or whatever, whichever way you all want to work it. I mean, in your report, you're talking about maybe selling the Afton Inn. Well, sell it to us, you're out of it. In that relationship at a very minimal price, because we're not going to pay the $500,000. I can tell you up front. But if we could get it for a reasonable rate, I'm sure the council may even consider that. But again, I'm here as a spokesperson. I'm not here to make any decisions. I'm here just to let you have information that I can't give you all the information at this time. But we would like to work together and get this thing over with. And if you all can work with us, I think we can work with you guys. So that's my report. If you have any questions, I'd be more than glad to entertain a question, whatever.
Mr. Chairman, if I could ask the mayor a couple of questions. Greg Harold, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
And thanks for meeting with Ed and Jeff, with your team. I really do appreciate it. The Afton Inn has been a thorn in my side, as well as the town's for the last 30, 40 years. What to do with that. I have 3 questions. I want to qualify those questions.
Speak up a little bit louder.
Absolutely. I have 3 questions.
Okay.
My questions are not to set you up. They're not to be inflammatory. They're not anything like that. I did that last month. These are just straight, honest, really just what if and what questions. So, is there emergency funding available to secure the Afton Inn without going through council approval? Based upon Mr. Napier's letters to me, it seemed to be rather urgent, as you have expressed. Is there a mechanism in the town to bypass that process, not for the sake of bypassing it, but just for the sake of getting it done?
I don't think we can do that. When it comes to appropriation of money, we got to appropriate, because it's not budgeted, so it has to be appropriated through another source. Number one, and then we still have to meet in order for the council to agree or disagree one way or the other, whether we buy or sell or whatever.
But what is the...
Just a second, what would be the time frame?
I don't know. If we could get a letter from you guys that you'd be willing to do something, then I would be more than glad to take it to the board, even in a special meeting if it came to that point.
Well, thinking about the short term, weather stabilization, if we got a price, say next week, we got a final price from 2 East Main, and I could get that price then to you, is there a...
let's see, we've got a meeting Monday the 6th, so our official meeting will be the 13th. If we could get it prior to if we could get it prior to the Wednesday before we set our agenda, or we could put it on as an add-on to our agenda at the actual meeting if we
At the 13th.
If we have a full council vote. It's got to be unanimous.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's talk about theory right now. What is the reasoning? Let me take a step back. The EDA doesn't want the Afton Inn. I think I can comfortably say that in front of this group. I think the EDA can comfortably say that we don't want the Afton Inn.
I thought you said you did.
Okay, yeah, that's not something, but we do have a contract agreement that we do have to abide by until that's resolved in some fashion.
Right. I understand that.
What is the probability or the intent of chasing the Afton Inn with good money after bad money? I mean, if you have to dump $15,000 in winterizing it, and then the next year wind up tearing it down because it's not suitable, there's not a business model that's going to support that structure or that property, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be upset over that particular action.
Right.
Maybe as we are talking about this winterization, we form a reasonable group of people that can sit down and negotiate a transaction with the Afton Inn, keeping in mind that I do have a good faith effort that I do have to maintain with 2 East Main until that contract is resolved in one fashion or the other, so I can't violate the integrity and the spirit of that agreement.
Sure.
But there is some result that is going to come of that. So maybe if there's an opportunity to communicate with 2 East Main and the town and the EDA collectively before this money is spent for an end result, maybe we can save everybody some time and everybody some money if that's an opportunity.
Well, listen, we're open for any opportunity. The only thing that we need to do is sit down and discuss it, like you said. If we can get a group together, whoever they may be, I think we as a council would be more than willing to sit down with you guys, work out either a sale or whatever we do, and then you have to terminate your contract with the third party, and then, like you said, either if we're going to remove it, why spend $13,000 or $15,000 to winterize it if we're going to remove it anyway? That's a waste of money.
Okay.
So, you know, but again, time is of the essence here. I mean, if that thing falls and hits somebody, we all three of us are in a bad situation. You, us, and the contractor. So we need to make some decisions, and we can't just keep sitting on it and just talking to one another through attorneys or whoever. It's got to be something that's pushed by you guys and us, and we can get it resolved.
We'll be back to you very quickly on what we can do and what we're interested in. You mentioned two other things. I'm sorry, did you have? Was that your?
Yeah, three.
Any other question?
We'll stay on the Afton Inn if you're still on that topic.
Sure. Well, that was what I had there, is that we'll be back.
Oh, okay, on that.
That's okay.
Okay, and then I guess really, and again, this is why I preface this, my three questions, but I'm not trying to be inflammatory. I don't understand why the town doesn't know what your project's costs, because Mr. Tewalt, you just said at the beginning of the
What projects are we referring to?
Leeches Run, Baugh
We've
Drive.
never been told. We've been
never-
trying to get that ever since this thing with Jennifer and all this happened. We can't get a final figure on nothing.
I find it very difficult. I find it very difficult that any municipal organization, be it the EDA, the town, the county, has entered into an agreements with multi-million-dollar figures into it and not know where they are at any point
Well,
in
see,
time.
things have changed since this thing started. You know, before it was the county, us, revenue sharing with the VDOT. VDOT paid more money than we had anticipated, which was great for us and you two as well. But we have never gotten a figure as to how much money we owe the EDA. Because you guys, not you guys, but the board were in charge of the money and all the paying of the contractor, the whole 9 yards. And we have never received any information on that. Now, it might be in your audit if you ever get one. I don't know that, but we don't know.
Okay.
And we don't know the others either. We know we overpaid the EDA approximately $300,000 by our books in regards to the other projects. But again, we can't get a final tally. Somebody said it's been refinanced up until I think 2041. We never signed any resolution on that. We never approved a resolution on that. We thought it was all going to be paid off in 2021 because the money was borrowed in 2001 for 20 years. So we thought it was going to be over. We don't know. We can't get no answers on that one. The same thing with the West Main Connector. I mean, it's sitting there in limbo because the Board of Transportation has already notified the town in regard to this. I hope I'm not saying something I shouldn't, but they've notified the town that since Mr. Tram did not spend the $10 million, we may have to pay part of that back that we got from the Transportation Board. We don't know that either. So we're just as much in limbo with these issues as you are.
Okay.
And hopefully that we can sit down together with anybody and everybody and work it out.
And let me agree with you there. I'm sorry.
Go ahead first, please.
There is, I agree with you completely. There is nothing more critical to the county, to the town, and to the EDA than deciding whatever the numbers are, deciding what those audit numbers are. And being able, whatever the number that the town's part of West Main Street, Leech Run, the police station, and the interest, whatever those numbers are, that we get those done. It's absolutely, there is nothing more important at the EDA than that. Now, we've been at this for a year. And I agree with you 100%. The only other thing I want to add, though, is when we talk about the interest and whatever the 1.5 versus the 2.25, we had two of the county new supervisors here, and the EDA does not have any money past March. However you want to figure it, we're effectively broke, and we can only rely on what the Board of Supervisors, and if I was them, I'd keep us on a very short leash until that was all clarified and you knew what those numbers were. But if we pay 3.75 and 3.0 on this loan, and we agree with the town that it should be 2.5, then there's either 1.5 or 1.25, whatever the difference is at different times, 0.75, whatever those differences are, ends up falling back to the county. And so the county needs to be a part of this discussion and where it's going to go. Now, the base amount, we have all agreed on what it cost over there for construction and engineering, and that you could go forward with the preliminary
See, the problem,
VRA.
but Mr. Daly, the problem we have, and you should be aware that we're going to go through the VRSA.
Yes.
And they will not discuss us until we get all this whole process finalized. And that includes the interest and how much money we definitely need to borrow. And we've been held up for a year now because we only have, the doors only open twice a year. The next opening in this VRSA is in February.
That's right.
And so the bonding, so in order for us to get that bonding, we've got to get paperwork completed prior to that time in order to get on the list so that they can put them in a multiple bond so that we be part of it and any other town or city that's in Virginia so that we can get our paperwork in and get that process moving. So we're in a time constraint too.
Yes, sure.
With the financial end of it. If we lose the February, then we can't even go back to the bond market for another 6 months. So there we're another 6 months in the rear. And so somebody's sitting here paying a bank interest and we can't do anything about it because we can't get the money.
Since you mentioned,
Unless somewhere along the line, United Bank would be able to, we could secure a loan from them in a fashion of a reasonable rate, that maybe that we could do that. But again, we've already pretty much been told, or at least I was told through the when I went to the VML, that we could probably get a loan around 2% through the bonding. And if they would honor a 2% loan, I think the town would go ahead and borrow the money tomorrow if we can. You know, with getting all the legal details together. But again, we're still in left field waiting to get home because we don't know what our interest rates are. We don't know how much money we can borrow. And they already told us until we get that resolved, then there's no sense of coming to the bonding market through the VRSA.
so you talked about my former life.
Yes.
What you can do is you can take, we're talking about a difference of approximately $100,000 in interest costs.
190.
Well, and the difference is 190?
190.
Okay, 190 is the difference.
Okay.
And you could take the base amount, we've all agreed on the 1.5, and you could even move that to 2.25, and you could borrow that through VML VACO or through Virginia Resources, either one, and move that forward. And then you have this smaller amount that you're negotiating with us and the county on, and that could be done on a short-term basis.
Okay, I'll go talk to BJ and see if there's a way that we can
We can move
circumvent
that
those
forward,
issues.
get that done.
But he's been telling us that they will not entertain any application until we know where we stand with you guys and us.
They only need to know what you're gonna borrow from them.
Well,
That's what they're after.
All I can say is
No.
it's what I've been told. So
Well, that's
things
what
may
they're
have
after.
changed between your days and my days and whatever, but I don't know. I mean, if there's any way we can do it, I think that we would be more than happy to get this thing off the books for you guys as well as us.
Well, I think a good faith effort in that, and I know that you have a disagreement with Mr. Tiedrick on this because it was a hot topic a few months ago during the campaign season that the town of Front Royal Water Department is sitting on a $12 million slush fund. I'm going to use those words. Let me finish.
Okay.
I'm going to use those words because That's what the town manager defines that as being, and I know that you have a differing opinion on that. Now, unless that money is earmarked specifically for something in the next 6 months,
But it's utilities.
it's improvements. It's infrastructure improvements.
Isn't it utility money?
Okay, please.
The $12 million, which is no longer 12, it's 10.1 right
Okay.
now. It's under our sewer fund. It's an enterprise. We
Yeah.
cannot commingle enterprise funds with general funds. And so that money cannot go for that reason. It's got to be there. Now, if we do borrow money from the money that we have, the 10.1 million, if we would borrow that money and utilize it, then we would have to go back and pay it back just like we would borrow it from John Doe, whoever. And so right now, with our I&I problems that we have at this point, I'm not sure that we're going to be able to do much with that because we're already under a consent order from the DEQ stating that they're going to come back with a new consent order, and we don't know what that's going to be. And it may be they're going to tell us we're going to add an addition to the sewer plan. It might be doing more money in the I&I. We just don't know. So we're going to leave that alone until after we get the DEQ letter and find out where we're headed in that direction. Just by like you guys, a lot of your all's direction, you just don't know yet where we're at. But that money is not a loan that we can just take and use it for a general fund. It doesn't work that way. It's got to come out of the general fund.
I had to ask the question. I had to clarify it. Thank you for the answer.
So, all right, we appreciate it.
Well, I just wanted to address one thing. You'd mentioned not receiving a bill on Leach Run and some of the older projects like Happy Creek and Stevens and the Ball Drive extension, and you're right. We're working on sorting through all of that right now. And I don't want to take a lot of time here, but just to give you an idea of what we're doing here, our accountants are having to go back through time and look at these projects. I'm looking at an email here from our accountant. There was a loan in 2005 which combined Happy Creek Industrial Park, 404, Stevens, and Ball Drive. So those projects had individual debt instruments before that. They've got to start there. She's got to come down through time and look how those loan balances transferred to different interest rates and terms and different debt instruments, calculate the interest and so forth down through a period of several years. On top of that, we also have to make sure that all the invoices and transactions were indeed legitimate. I can tell you last week we found a fraudulent invoice on Leach Run. So we're not able to accurately and legitimately bill for Leach Run and West Main Connector. Our folks are working on it very hard because not only do they want to arrive at the proper billing amount for you and the county, we also need to do that work to produce the proposed adjusted journal entries and have accurate figures there for our audit. So bear with us. We're going to work to get legitimate billings to you on those projects, but it is more involved than what one may think.
But it does have to get done. We've got to pick whatever the date is that you want, we've got to pick a point and we've got to move forward. We can't.
Well, we had already kind of picked a point at the end of January at the very latest. That was our drop dead date.
This is
That was our
quick
very,
thing.
very, yes.
We can't keep digging.
We're done.
Yeah.
So
Going
we're going
back
to be done
that,
at the end of July.
If I may, if you go back and look at those projects, we have a percentage there. Some of them are 72-28 percentage with the county and you guys out have work. And we have some that was 30 and 70, and then there was a third one that's a different one too. All three of them has got three different ratios there in between knowing who you pay and what I pay, from the town or EDA, the county. So, it is a mess, and I know that. But the big thing we're looking at is how can we were thinking it was paid off in 21, and that's the most important thing. But yet we understand from someone that Jennifer had gone to there and renewed it for another 20 years. And according to my understanding is that the principal has never been paid down hardly at all because of refinancing and whatever. But we was to the understanding when we shared the money that when they sold property along those streets, that money was going to go back to pay off that loan. And apparently none of the money was ever utilized to pay off the loans. It was just put in your all's coffers and used for every other thing, but it was never used, any of that money was never used to pay off that loan that we had all agreed to with the county, you and us. So, you know, it's a whole, it's just a mess.
Yeah, so that's another, you know, obviously that's another part of the thing that we're trying to go through and document. You know, all I can say is, you know, we're working to make sure we get this accurate. The last thing we want to do is send you a bill and have it not be right, or produce an audit that's not right, you know,
Right.
and it just, it's a mountainous task, and
I know that.
we're going through it as best.
That's not the main issue. The Afton Inn to me today is the main issue. The second one is the police department, the third one is the projects. And if we can just take one bite at a time, and we'll get the elephant eaten up.
On the police department, it's my understanding from the engineers that DEQ won't sign off on the notice of termination until spring, when the grass, they see that it's established and that there's good erosion control.
There is a little bit of a disagreement there with the retention pond, yes.
Yeah,
And I'm not sure.
I only bring that up to ask if that would preclude you from seeking permanent financing now. Is that something that has to happen in the
To
project?
be honest with you, I don't think so, but I'm not sure.
Okay, good.
I wouldn't think a small nickel dime item would be that big of a.
Because you have substantial completion over there.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, we're definitely not gonna pay everything off. There will be some money held in escrow, to make sure that's covered. And then the main thing we want is a good mechanics lien, that everything's been paid. And if there's any money left in escrow to cover that retention pond, the grass, whatever, that's all we're looking for right now. And I think that we pretty much got that resolved, at least that's what I understand.
We're fighting the same thing on Leach Run, so it's apparently all
Yeah.
about growing grass.
I don't think we've got a substantially completion date on that one, have we?
No.
I didn't think so.
We lost the summer.
Yeah.
If I can make one more comment.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Tewalt. If you want to form an ad hoc committee on this Afton to bring this to head, I had sent an email to Mr. Tiedrick a week and a half ago before Christmas, recommending 2 people from the town, 2 people from the EDA on the board, Mr. Parsons, and the 2 gentlemen from 2 East Main, to work this out. I'm still amenable to forming that ad hoc committee, if it's not necessary.
No, wait a minute, I'm losing. What purpose would that resolve?
What I'm saying is that if you want to form an ad hoc committee
Understand.
to discuss the further disposition of the Afton Inn, whether it is a salvage operation, it's a construction operation, it's a winterization operation, or it's a demolition operation, then I'm certainly amenable to that. So
Okay, I'll talk to Matt and
that's fine.
some of the council and see what they feel is necessary. But the biggest thing, again, goes right back. We can't just keep pushing the ball down the road. We've got to get it stopped and get something going on this thing. Because here we are going in 2020, and we've been talking about it for 2 months, and we still don't have winterized, we don't have anything. So I don't want to push the ball any further. I want to get something accomplished between you guys and the town, so that this thing doesn't become more of a nuisance than, well, it's already a nuisance. And get something resolved on that issue.
I want to try to just see if we can make sure that we have some priorities here. Is it important that we do the engineering study to see if we have a serious problem that has to be dealt with ASAP, regardless of who owns the Afton Inn at some point, or whether it's something that it could sit if the decision is going to we're uncertain as to whether you're going to try to rehab it or you're going to remove it. It would seem to me to be longer term decisions that are going to take time for anybody to figure out. Is that the course that we need to get?
We already started that, didn't we?
I made the request for that, so yes.
So we already
Yeah,
started that.
so we're going to do that,
Yeah.
and then work from there.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're already done with that.
Well, it's in process.
Yeah,
It's a
in
process. Yeah. Okay.
But,
Yeah.
The request has been made, so
Right.
it's not in my court at this moment.
okay.
Right.
It needs to be sent back to me.
So,
Okay.
we appreciate it very much.
Okay, let me talk to.
We will be back to you very soon.
Council and see if we can get an ad hoc committee and we can work something out.
Appreciate
best
you coming.
report from the town that we've had since I've been here. That's the best report from the town that we have ever had since I've been here.
Appreciate your
You know,
comment.
my philosophy.
Thank you to come.
I'll call you Doug, not Doug. That if we don't sit down and resolve these things like this, it's never gonna get resolved. If we use attorneys, it's just gonna go on and on and on.
Yep.
So we need to all sit down
And the
and put our
expense.
thinking caps on what's best for the front row of Warren County. We gotta realize that you guys are Warren County, I'm Warren County, they're Warren County. And we're all paying the bills. We're paying more than anybody because we're paying the county and paying our town too. So, you know, we all need to work together. Unless we get on the same page, nothing gets accomplished. And that's why I'm trying. Pardon?
And the meter is running.
And the meter's running.
Right.
And eventually the meter's gonna have to stop. And that's what I'm trying to do, is put a stopping point here. I think Mr. Daly and Mr. Brown, and we discussed this, I think we've come to that good decision. And it sounds like you guys got this morning, that we can work together, get it resolved, get it over with. Because you don't ever get nothing accomplished if you don't get talk to one another. It just does not happen. I don't care who you are.
We appreciate it very much, sir.
Okay,
Thank
now,
you.
is that all you need from me? I'm
Yes.
gonna run.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks for letting me, I guess we'll let off my hot air, whatever, if that's what you want to call it. But again, thank you, and I want to appreciate this, and we'll try to work together as we're talking about a committee and go from there. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Y'all have a good day. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New
Happy
Year.
New Year. So the grazing lease,
Thanks.
Mr. Harrell?
Yeah, so, Ms. Martin presented the grazing lease at the last board meeting. I had not reviewed it or reviewed the property. I was uncomfortable in moving forward on it at that point in time. At this point, I have reviewed the property, I have reviewed the lease. I'm certainly satisfied with the terms, conditions, the amount. We do have a 30-day kick-out notice on it. The value of the lease is consistent with the market. Grazing just does not bring a lot of revenue in. Property, the leasing has to take care of the property while it is under their control. Not much difference from what we've had in the past. Proper insurance, we have to have a chemical treatment plan. I would motion to approve the lease as it is presented. If everybody needs an opportunity to review this, please take 2 minutes to do so. But the asset committee is satisfied with the agreement as it stands.
The finance is already
Mr.
looking.
Chairman?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I apologize for interjecting. Mr. Harold, I had sent you and other members of the committee some comments on the lease from the draft that I had seen at the last meeting. Some were explanatory comments. One clear one was that you needed to take out the provision that the town was the arbitrator if there are any disputes. And I don't know whether your draft today has those changes made.
No, it's still in there, number 8.
8, last one.
I think I sent that to you, I think last Wednesday.
Sharon, I know that you did, and I know that I clicked it open, and I did rifle through your comments, but I have to say I believe I was in the process of trying to wrap up my professional business and get ready for the holidays.
Sure, I was suggesting that perhaps if the board wanted to approve it subject to incorporating those other changes once you have a chance to go through them. The main substantive one was the one with respect to the arbitration.
I don't disagree with that. I'm certainly amenable to making a motion based upon your provisions and adjustments that you've sent.
So to be clear, you would make the motion that we could approve this lease with the provisions that you sent incorporated into the lease, specifically removing number 8 under arbitration.
That's correct.
I make that motion.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is unanimous. All right, we're ready to go to, thank you. Ready to go to closed session. Would somebody like to take us into closed session?
Okay, whereas the Front Royal Warren County Economic Development Authority desires to discuss and close the meeting the following matters. Two matters, discussion of disposition of publicly held real property, or discussion in open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body, 404 Fairground Road, and the Afton Inn pursuant to 2.2-3711A3. Three matters, briefing by staff regarding solar panels at 400 Kendrick Lane, consultation with legal counsel regarding loan agreements with First Bank Strasburg and First Bank and Trust pursuant to 2.2-3711A7. Whereas pursuant to VA Code 2.2-3711A7, such discussions may occur in closed meeting. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Warren County Economic Development Authority does hereby authorize discussion of the aforesaid matters in closed meeting. The new format we have is A's and Nays, so if I could.
Just say all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is unanimous. We are in closed session.
12, requires a certification by the authority that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be resolved that the authority hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convened the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the authority.
Is there a second?
Yeah.
Just say all in favor.
All in
All
favor?
in favor?
Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are out of closed session. The records show that Mr. Blanton had to leave during the closed session. Is there a motion?
Yes. We have two motions. First motion is to approve the extension agreement as written between EDA and First Bank and Trust, dated today to extend our line of credit.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is unanimous.
Second motion is to approve up to $2,500 for an engineering report on the Afton Inn regarding weatherization
Stability.
Requirements.
weatherization requirements.
Second,
Does that include structural integrity or?
it's a structural engineer.
Okay.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is unanimous. Okay. Next item, the 2018 audit. As I understand, we will have our numbers, our internal work complete January 31st.
That was when we sat down, that was the date, yes, that was set.
Because the banks continue to talk about how important it is that we get that audit done. And whatever the numbers are, that we be able to tell the town, be able to tell the county, be able to tell the banks exactly whatever the good news or the bad news is, we tell them what it is. And we be done and move on. Whatever we want to pick on Leach Run, we want it to be as accurate as we can make it, but we can't keep looking forever. We've got to close it and be done and go on. January 31. Request for proposals for a national broker.
Could I stand that just for a minute? I'm a little, since we're dealing with outside organizations doing the audit, and I'm not sure how are we going to enforce January 31?
The January 31 is for all of our internal accounting to be done and to the auditors.
Okay, oh, okay, that's it.
But we use outside auditors for a number of those things.
Right, so as you guys know, a couple board meetings back, Carolyn and Heather presented the vast majority of the proposed adjusted journal entries, which you approved and were then sent to Young, Hyde, and Barber, and they've been working with those. I've been in touch with them to ask them, I've reached out several times to ask them, what's your time frame? Do you need anything else from us? I finally got a response last night at 7:07 that said that they will try to get us a list of additional items they need, and that they will send me on Monday what they've accumulated on that list thus far. So they're able to work with what they've sent us, but their work has generated some questions, I'm sure. So I'll do everything I can to try to keep the ball moving with Tide and Barber, and keep them in touch with our accountants so that they can work on getting the remaining items that they need. I believe Jennifer has indicated that once they get the list to us and we get them whatever else it is they need, then they can give us a time frame. So I will push them as hard as I can.
Well, we also have to get them numbers, as I said, so we can set the, what the loans are and all that. That's still not been untangled, and that was the date that I had, that we needed to get those
Right.
numbers ready. And that's our drop dead date.
And that's all internal.
Yeah, and that's all internal.
Right, that
So
we
that
have
we have
some
to,
control over.
that absolutely, those items we have to have done.
Right, and plus we have to have that for the audit as well.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, so it is internal, but we do use an outside
Right.
source as well, so.
Right,
but
they're the
they-
ones
but
who
they
actually
all-
perform it.
But they all know that the 31st was our drop dead date to
They
have
do.
those completed.
So what we're doing, Mr. Brown, by January 31 is to get ourselves to the starting line.
Yep,
Yes.
good.
Which is what we're
That's
doing.
what clarification, thank you.
National broker,
So unfortunately, our most recent prospect for the ball drive building has fallen through. I'm attempting to continue to work with them to see if we might be able to bridge the gap on the building, or if not, interest them in a blank parcel of land. With this having fallen through, we had considered a national broker for the building back in September and October, but at the time, I think the decision was delayed because we had a couple clients and we wanted to see if they panned out. But we're kind of at a point now where we don't have anyone, a very hot prospect, and I just wanted to see if you guys had talked with Jeff a little bit about this, and just wanted to see if you guys would want to revisit the idea of doing a request for proposals for a national broker to get the kind of exposure to the kind of companies that we would like to get out in front of and try to create a major employer out there.
is there a draft?
Mm-hmm.
Could the draft be referred to the finance committee and to the assets committee and sent to our attorney so that then we can review it and be able to look at it on the 24th?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's our meeting date, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I'd like to be prepared to vote on it.
Well, yeah, but I don't want to vote on it before you bring it.
Clearly, but I just want to make sure not look at it, but vote on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean, look at it.
Sorry.
When I say that, if all three groups are happy with it and that's what we want to do, then we vote.
I don't want to just limit that to one property. I'd like to explore that option.
Well, maybe it's broad,
Exactly.
maybe make it broader to include all properties.
Some type of blanket agreement.
Yeah, could be. That could be one national broker, yeah. Okay, so anything else to come before the board? Sir?
Can I give you a report on what I just found out?
Yes, sir.
In regards to the questions y'all asked?
Yes, sir, please.
I just left the office of our finance director, Mr. B.J. Wilson. He told me that February is a drop dead on he doesn't know the exact date, it's the first part of February. We can't do it again until July sometime.
Correct.
Also, he told me that they will not separate the interest from the major component of the loan. He said they will not accept it. They've got to have a letter from the board in full on the amount of the actual loan and the interest it has to be included in that. And that's the only way they'll accept our application is a letter from the board here saying that we owe 8.4 million plus whatever amount of interest, and then we can make application. Otherwise, they will not accept our applications. It cannot be separated in two different units. And so that puts us in a bind with you guys of making a decision whether you're gonna go with a 3 or we're gonna compromise and go with something different. And as soon as you all can get that worked out, let us know, and a letter official from you guys to us, that we can go ahead and apply for the loan. The loan, if it's approved through the revolving bonds with the state of Virginia bond market, then we could probably have this whole thing settled and money in your all's hands sometime by April.
Thank you.
So that's where we stand at this point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else to come before the board?
What is our monthly police station right now?
Trying that.
22,000.
22.
That's what we're doing.
Why don't we, Mr. Tewalt, the town has a funding mechanism set aside for, with the police station, that was a recurring budget item, is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Why don't we send the bill for the 22,000?
They won't accept that.
Who won't?
The bond market, the VRSA will not accept that. It's got to be the full amount of the interest that's owed plus the actual loan
I
itself.
understand that, but the payment itself, the town is carrying a budget line item,
We are.
and why can't I send my invoice to you to pay for that $22,000 a month?
They will not accept it that way. It's got to, for when we apply for the loan, it's got to include all the interest up to that date. When you all give us a letter stating of how much money that we actually owe the EDA through United Bank, which includes the interest rate. That's what we just talked about. I thought we could separate it, like Mr. Daly had said, that we could separate the interest. We pay the interest out of our coffers and then do that. They won't do it that way. They want to know because they're afraid there'll be a lawsuit in the future. They want to make sure that we have an official letter from you guys through the bank, that we have all the interest and the principal together in one loan, and then that's the only way that we can get it into the bond market.
I understand that. So let me rephrase the question because I obviously miscommunicated. If I were to send you a bill for $22,000 for this month to pay for the principal of the police station, that money could theoretically come out of the town coffers and not be in the bond market.
Possibility, I can't answer that.
Maybe that's something.
But I think that what we need to do is just get it all done at one time, instead of just passing.
I agree. It's always good to have.
You all agree on
contingency.
something and let us either accept it or deny it and go from there.
Okay.
Is it, would it be a good thing for you all to do if you want? Well, I think what we agreed at our meeting is that if the EDA board had approved a 1.5%, that we were going to honor that. And I don't think the only thing that any of us have at this point is an email that says we anticipate getting that 1.5%.
I agree with that.
If it seems to me that if you want less than what we actually paid, which would be the logical thing for us to ask for, is here's what we paid, that if you've got some good solid reasoning as to why we should consider less, if you can provide it, that'll help in our decision.
Well, let's put it this way. We acted in good faith on the authority of your director. And we have documentations by letter, by email, whatever, that it is 1.5%.
Well, it just says that the only thing I've ever seen is anticipate.
We can either do one or two things. It could go to court, and the court will decide on something, or we can sit down as a group and do a compromise. It's gonna be cheaper for all of us to compromise and go through a court system, and you all know that. We can get it off of your books, our books, and everybody should be happy. We're gonna have to take a loss. All of us are gonna take a loss over this 1.5% and the loan from the new market tax credits. We acted in good faith, and I feel that you guys, being the board, should act in good faith and either share the cost or whatever. And I would rather see us settle up on this case now than to let the court system do it, because nobody's gonna win at all in that case. And I think we all know that.
But the last thing we have is an email from Mrs. McDonald to Joe Waltz and former mayor and BJ saying that we have interim financing and we need to know how the town wants to have permanent financing. And I can't find anything that goes beyond that as to what should be done. If there's something after that,
The only thing that, and I gave you a copy of it.
but that predates it. That's before her email. Because her email was January of 18.
Yeah, but the email has no value. The board didn't approve an email.
No, but
But
it
we
informed the
did.
town
But we did approve a resolution.
that said
that you
anticipate.
have, and that should be the official document, a resolution that was approved by us
Yeah.
as a board. And emails to me don't hold a whole lot of merit.
But
That's
the
only
resolution
anticipated.
doesn't actually indicate an interest rate, does it?
It does, it says anticipated at 1.5% interest. So
Anticipate.
that's what I'm saying, we took it on our good faith with the board, with the Jennifer, and the board at that time, that we would get it for 1.5% or close. But that's all we'd ever heard. So we, like I said, we could sit down and compromise and split it or whatever, we can save a lot of money in the long run without court. Court cases, it's gonna cost you more than it's gonna be the interest. It's gonna cost us more than what the interest is accrued to. So who's gonna win? Not us.
You know, we did inform afterwards, after that resolution, and we never got any response from the town.
I don't know
Didn't
about
inform.
that. I don't know
Well,
what you're
that's all we
referring
have. It's the email that BJ received and Joe Waltz received and the former mayor received,
From
saying
who?
that the interest rate
Who was it from?
from Jennifer McDonald.
See, that's a problem.
See, but
Well-
Mr. Tewalt, we're gonna, and we're not gonna solve this issue in this particular forum
Sure.
right now.
No.
But I gotta tell you, you've said, hey, nobody's gonna win when the attorneys get involved. All I'm gonna say is, show me a loan commitment from an underwriting institution that guarantees your dollar amount at X percentage rate, and I will give you that loan. Until you can do that, nobody has anything.
I did. So nobody gets any money.
So,
You all know, you get further in debt, we get further in debt, nobody wins.
Yeah, let's,
If you take that attitude.
we'll consider this, but if you have anything that helps in our decision-making, we would appreciate it.
The only thing that I can tell you is, I'm sure there's some emails back and forth, but the emails, as far as I'm concerned, don't hold any merits.
Right.
The resolution holds the only merit that I can understand, because it says anticipated at 1.5.
Right.
And we anticipated that, and I think you guys, I don't expect you to honor the 1.5, but I think we
Yeah.
can adjust that 1.5 to 2.25. You'd be happy, I'd be happy, and we'd save money in the long.
But we lose money and the county has to make that up.
We're gonna lose money if you pay all the
Plus the
attorney
county-
bills as well.
Plus the county paid off their payments on the schools and so forth at the full interest.
But I don't wanna argue that.
So it puts us in a court, puts us in a
You all
court.
make your decision, and then we'll either follow through with the lawsuit on it, or we go settle it up. Yeah. That's the only thing I can say, because I don't have the authority to say any more than that, but I don't have a vote here.
We're gonna give Dr. Patterson the
Well,
last
I
word.
had read that y'all had discussions at 2.28% from another lender, but you decided to gamble on the new market, basically gamble on the new market tax credit coming through. Can you address that?
Jennifer came to us at 2.65. And they saw the 33% reduction in the full loan, and the council, with the exception of me, said, let's go with the new market tax credits. I voted against it in order to take the 2.65.
All right, with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.